Hey everyone, welcome to Cook Nook. I'm Angel Girl.
And I'm Donnie Showshot.
And today we're going to do a review. And today we went to a restaurant called Deli Deli. We had previously gone to this previous restaurant that was located in another part of town. But they relocated, and so now we wanted to go and try out any new dishes that they may have added. For the most part, they're all like Mexican-inspired dishes.
I think it's since it's more like a coffee house type. I think that's how they started. Mm-hmm. I think they have a good variation of food. I think that they're trying to cater to, the different appetite that the community has. So I think that fuse between American food, Mexican food, and then they had some Italian food as well. Yeah, I think that's what makes it a little bit different.
Yeah,
but it was. I mean, it's still a good place for like a little afternoon lunch kind of thing, or like a late lunch, early dinner kind of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first time we went, they only had like sandwiches. And it had a very small menu at the time.
Yeah.
And this time around that we visited, they had a pretty good amount of dishes within like the Mexican realm. They had some
seafood.
Seafood, yes.
They had some steaks and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, they still had some sandwiches though.
Yeah.
They had some
salads. They had a lot of salad options too. So.
Some pretty good appetizers. Which we'll talk about in a little bit.
And their kid menu was actually pretty
decent.
Yeah, they had I think it was about 5 different options.
Yeah.
For kids, which was not bad at all. Usually, you only get it's either nuggets or like a hamburger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like the idea that they had a little bit of more options.
Yeah.
For kids to try.
And then they also had like a pretty good amount of like Italian type dishes.
Yeah.
So I was.
Well, I liked that the Italian dishes that they had a sort of mix with Mexican ingredients.
Right.
Because they had like the poblano pasta, which had like a poblano sauce. It's kind of like the what's it called? This? The creamy poblano sauce.
Yeah.
But it was more like I feel like it was more like the pesto sauce or the pesto pasta that we normally make.
Yeah.
I think it's that idea of using that greenery for the pasta or for the sauce itself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We do use some canned stuff. But yeah, for this one I ordered grilled chicken and it had a poblano sauce on top of it. Yeah. And then it had steamed veggies and white rice and garlic bread.
And also had the roasted corn on top.
Oh, that's true. Yes. Yeah. I wasn't expecting to get like a healthier option. I really enjoyed it. And it kind of threw me off that they had garlic bread because you're already getting your carbs from the rice. You know what I mean? So they added the garlic bread. I'm like, well, I'm not going to complain about it. I love garlic bread, but I think it was, I felt like it was out of place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, traditionally, I guess for that type of dish, you would serve it with like tortillas or something like that. So I think that tortillas is a little bit more heavier than the garlic bread that they served. I liked the presentation it had to begin with. I liked the variation of the colors too, because you had the white rice with a little bit of veggies in it. You had the steamed veggies, and then you had the chicken itself with the green poblano sauce on top, and then the roasted corn. So that those mix of colors made the dish very, very pleasing.
Vibrant.
Yeah. It was a very nice. It was very pleasing to the eye, and the taste of it was amazing. The sauce itself was so creamy. Yes. And it still had really nice flavor too.
Yes.
I figured sometimes when they make sauces like that, they either miss one thing or another when it comes to the flavor of it. But that green poblano sauce they had on top was very nice.
I think the chicken, I feel like it might have been a little bit dry, but the cream compensated for it, and it was good. I really enjoyed it.
Well, compared to other places that we gone, their chicken was a lot juicier than the other places we've been to. So they still did a good job because the chicken itself, by itself had a good flavor. So usually they'll season a little bit on the chicken.
Yeah.
But this time around, they had a nice sear to it. It had a nice flavor to it. It was nice and tender. And then I like that the rice itself had flavor. Sometimes what they do is that when they make white rice, it's bland.
Yeah.
There's no flavor to it. There's no salt, no pepper, nothing to it.
Yeah.
And this time it even tasted like maybe they put on some like chicken bouillon
yeah.
or maybe just some chicken broth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they did really good job with that dish. I think the overall your dish was really, really good. Like
yeah. I think the only thing that I missed having was just like some salt for the veggies, because I think they were a little bit bland. They didn't have a whole lot of seasoning in them.
Yeah.
But other than that, just kind of like dipping into a sauce and just eating it all together, it was really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even though the garlic bread was not something that you would pair with that kind of dish, I liked that there was a fresh garlic on there.
Yeah.
That you could tell that there was fresh garlic with some butter and everything on it. And the bread itself was nice and toasted. It wasn't overdone or it wasn't underdone. It had a nice little crunch to it.
Yep.
It was really buttery too, which was really nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that was your dish, but I know we also got the nachos.
Yes.
We started out with the nachos, which I actually enjoyed because they had a nice homemade tortillas, you know, deep fried and everything. The beans were nice and they weren't too over refried.
No.
They weren't, what's it called? They weren't dry. They were still nice and moist on the beans. And then, I mean, just the cheese and the jalapenos on it. So it was a nice little appetizer to start out
and
with.
had the grilled chicken on top.
Oh, yeah. And then we added the grilled chicken on it as well. And the chicken itself was a little bit dry, but overall was still pretty flavorful.
Yeah, I think the beans compensated for the dry chicken.
Yeah,
it was just good. I really enjoyed it. Spite that chicken was a little dry. It was really good.
I also enjoyed that they brought out some chips and salsa.
Oh yeah.
The salsa itself had a nice little kick to it. It wasn't too overly done or nothing, so it had a nice little flavor to them. I think they had a sort of hit and miss with it, where they could have done some like homemade chips versus the store-bought stuff. Yeah. So, but even then, I mean, they're giving it out for free technically. You know what I mean? But I mean, either or, it was still pretty good like little starter stuff with the chips and the salsa and then the nachos. Was a nice little start to eat and stuff like that.
Yeah, but yeah, and then your dish, you ordered the.
I ordered the chicken parm.
Yes.
With the spaghetti and sauce on it.
Yes.
The chicken itself was nice and juicy.
Yes.
Was nice and moist. The breading itself was delicious.
Awesome.
It was nicely seasoned. It had a nice crunch to it. It wasn't falling off the chicken how normally it happens. This one stayed on it for a good while, so it was really good. The pasta was nicely done. It wasn't overcooked. It wasn't al dente, so it was just done perfectly for being spaghetti. The sauce itself, to me, was a little bit too on the kind of like on a sweet, tangy side.
I tasted a little bit of acidity in it.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It was too much on that side. I think if they would have added maybe some pecorino or some Parmigiano cheese onto the marinara sauce itself, I think it would change the flavor palette to it. But overall, I mean, the sauce was pretty good. It had nice little big chunks of tomato still on it. But overall, I think it was a nice sweet. I think the combination, if you separate the dish between the chicken parm, the spaghetti, and then the sauce, right? If you separate everything, each one alone should be good, right? It shouldn't depend on one with the other to combine. You know what I mean? But in this dish, in this case, the sauce being sweet, right, and a little bit of acidity to it, complemented the seasoning on the chicken parm. You know what I mean? The seasoning on it with the pepper and the salt and everything on it complemented, the marinara sauce itself. And then the pasta being nicely done, everything together, It was a really really enjoyable dish. This for that sort of coffee house feel to it.
Yeah.
I do want to come back and try some of their other dishes,
Yes.
which I thought was really, like,
Yeah, I was stuck between like some enchiladas and that
yeah.
particular dish that I got, and I decided to go other like to the latter because it's something different that I hadn't tasted,
Yeah.
because the enchiladas you can get it at San Miguelitos, you can get it in like
Probably in almost every Mexican restaurant there is in
right,
town. You
right,
can get a variation of those
yes.
dishes. So
And I wanted to get something different that I hadn't had in other places,
Yeah.
because I don't want to compare it. I want to know what they can make and what they're capable of making.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then Mikey grabbed the little what's
with
it?
the chicken tenders,
Yes.
chicken tenders. I mean, they could have again. It was a chicken tenders with some fries.
Fries.
And I think that the fries again are just frozen fries or generic fries.
Yes.
I think they could do a little bit different option, especially for kids. Like do like sweet potato fries.
Yeah.
You know, like
little healthier stuff.
Yeah, like some tater tots. It doesn't have to always be fries, but
Yeah.
that's it. I know they do that in restaurants just because it's a cheaper version.
Right.
You can buy in bulk, and
Yeah.
it's cost effective.
Well, I encountered a small little problem. Our son loved it so freaking much that as soon as we got home for dinner, he wanted to eat the rest of his food. And then today, there was just like some little fries that were left over. He stole the little box and ate the fries. And I'm like...
Yeah, he loves those fries.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't eat fries as often.
Yeah.
So I think that's why when we give him fries, he really enjoys them. I know that his chicken tenders were like nicely seasoned, nicely cooked.
Very juicy too.
Yes,
The
yes.
chicken was very, very juicy.
Yeah.
The breading was awesome. It was on point.
I even ended up cutting a couple pieces, dipping it in a marinara sauce,
It was awesome. Yeah.
and he was in love with it.
Yeah.
So overall, I think he's one of the most critics, like one of the best critics we have when it comes to reviewing food. Because if he don't like it and he's not gonna eat it, then we know that it's not a good, dish. And he eats pretty much everything. So if he doesn't eat the food at a restaurant, it's because he doesn't like the taste of it. He's barely starting to develop his palate too.
Yeah.
So for him to enjoy the chicken itself with a little bit of marinara sauce, the fries with a little bit of ketchup,
And he stole the freaking chicken
yeah.
from the box. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? But yeah, I had to literally grab the box from him. I was shaking it. I was like, oh, it's gone. Like, he just freaking opened it and grabbed the fries in there. So yeah, he extremely, absolutely enjoyed the dish. But yeah, what did you think about the surrounding?
We actually got to drink. We got the lemonades, and that was a really nice lemonade.
Fresh.
Yeah.
Not very it wasn't overly sweet.
Yeah.
It was very, very good. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the drinks itself was really good. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For sure.
The decor. We've been to that restaurant before. It was Deli Deli, and decor was kind of a little bit outdated.
Yeah.
But I like that they sort of redid theirs, sort of like the original place. White walls, very nice furniture, stuff like that. I know they redid all the tables, all the
Yes.
tabletops were really nicely done. And then I like their color schemes because they were using some bluish, some gray, some browns.
They didn't have a whole lot of decor though.
Yeah, I think because since they're just opening up again, I think that they're trying to still bringing in more stuff in. But it's still a nice location.
Yeah.
It's right on the main street, closer to a lot more of the shopping areas, and it's a really I really like that they have their breakfast and their lunch. I think that and they would expand to dinner. I think they would get a little bit more clientele because that's when most people are out, from work and stuff like that. But again, the breakfast, we haven't gone to the breakfast yet, which is one of the things I want to do. I want to go out for their breakfast and try it, see what they have. especially their drinking options, because most places only offer like orange juice, coffee, and like a regular fountain drink or something like that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see what kind of coffees do they offer, what kind of other drinks, apart from your standard stuff. So what else did you think about the place itself?
I don't know. I mean, well, the parking was really nice. I hated that it was in a big hill.
Yeah, like a little bit of a hill.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, the decor was very minimal. It was the price though. The price was a little bit too pricey.
No, I think the price was okay. The only thing that I felt that was, I guess we didn't ask either, was with the drinks themselves. We ordered a couple of drinks every single time, and I think it was the only thing apart from that. I mean, I get it. They don't have a fountain drink installed, and then, I mean, it was freshly done lemonade. So I mean, you figured. But other than that, I think the decor itself was good. The staff was very courteous.
Yeah.
They even had one of the little girls come out and give us the menus, which was super cute. It's always nice to see like a family-owned business keeping, the family inside the business itself.
Yes.
And that was a really nice thing to see. The little girl was super excited to like, she handed one menu to me, to you, and then one to Mikey, and then one to me, and it's like...
And the I think it was a grandma, she was like, oh, not the baby.
But she was like, the baby needs a menu too, here.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And so, I mean, we enjoyed the stay for sure, the visit. I do want to go back, to try out different other dishes, to see, now compare, like what's different from the San Miguelitos to this to Deli Deli. What differences do they have? How do they serve it? How do they plate it? How different do they plate it?
And their presentation on their dishes was like on point. Like it was really good the way that they set up everything. Like you could tell that's how like when it came to the pricing, I didn't mind the pricing on it because the quality of the food they brought out, the presentation itself, the service itself, the timing of the service of the food coming out was excellent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And most times when you go to restaurants and the price is really high, but then the quality is really low, and then the staff is like subpar. You know what I mean? So it doesn't make sense to pay that much for a substandard meal and then a substandard service. You know what I mean? In this case, I didn't mind paying the price that they had because the dish itself was very presentable.
Yeah.
It grabbed your attention. I mean, we were the only ones there eating anyways, because we went kind of like the time where they were about to close.
Yeah.
That was kind of my fault because I didn't know what time they closed. I just knew that they were open. So by the time I knew it, it was like, oh, they closed at 4. We kind of went like an hour before they closed. So they still got the dishes out really well done. Sometimes when they're about to close, sometimes they rush on things, but they didn't do that. They presented the dish really well. They set it up. It was nice and clean, nice and flavorful.
It did take about 30. I think it was 30 minutes for the dishes to come out. But at the same time, it's like when you finally get to see the plate and you taste the food, it's like, okay, it's understandable. Yeah. You know what I mean? They are trying to do their best to actually make sure that the dishes are correctly going out.
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen that comparison before when we go to a fast food restaurant and we order burgers versus we go to a restaurant that serves a burger, right? Where you can tell the difference. The burger is gonna in a fast food restaurant, depending on how the line is, the food's gonna come out quick, right? But sometimes when you open, the packaging for the burger, there's lettuce all over the place. It's missing this. It's missing that, or like it's not done correctly, and you can tell because it's a fast-paced environment. It's a fast food restaurant. They're not gonna care about quality. They're just gonna care about quantity. Right. But when you go to a restaurant and you order, a burger from a restaurant, It's going to take a little bit longer, but the presentation is going to be phenomenal.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the patty itself is going to be like a quarter pound or like, you know, an inch thick. You know what I mean? The everything's nicely plated. You know what I mean? The lettuce and everything's nicely stacked. Tomatoes, the sauce, everything. There's a beautiful presentation. You know what I mean? So the pricing itself, even in that case, the fast food restaurant is going to give you you know, very low price on the meal and a really fast, you know, service, but the quality is like very subpar.
Yes.
Versus in a restaurant, the quality is going to be, you know, above and beyond.
And we've experienced that, especially like in chain restaurants, where we go, you know, it's a sit down restaurant, and they give you, like, for example, like you order a burger, you know, a brisket burger, and you're expecting this thick, like super thick, like meats, you know, on your burger, and they give you just a little sprinkle of it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, but we are paying like freaking $30 for this.
Yeah, I mean, like stuff like that, when that happens, it's because they're trying to get the order out. That's why when you go to like a fast food restaurant, especially if you go to the drive-thru, they ask you, oh, just can you go park over there? Because they're trying to just get the numbers up. You know what I mean? But when you go to a restaurant and you sit down and you're eating, and yeah, you're going to wait 30 minutes, 45 minutes before your meal, but what you're getting, it's amazing. You know what I mean? Because you could, first thing you see is that they're bringing out the plate, you can smell the plate already. You can smell your food. You know what I mean? Then they bring it out, and the presentation itself it's amazing. And then as soon as you take that first bite, that's when you feel all the things connected. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I would rather pay, you know, top dollar for quality and service versus pay, if I know we're going to go to the like fast food restaurant because we're on the go, we don't have time to sit down and eat and, you know, enjoy the meal. And in this case at Deli Deli, we enjoyed the meal.
Yes.
We had a conversation. We were playing with our son. You know, we were having a nice time. You know what I mean? And I would rather pay for that than a drive-through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying that all drive-thrus are bad. There are some places that are really good drive-thrus. But in this case with Deli Deli, from the original location that they were down the street, which was like a little house, it felt like a nice little home place. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Now to this new place that they have, it still has that vibe because it feels like, even though it's sort of like a diner situation, restaurant type decor and everything, it still feels like you're sitting at your living room house. You know what I mean? You're sitting at the dining room table and, you know, you're still chit-chatting or whatever. Especially in the, you know, how we come from big families. You know, whenever we sit and eat at my mom's house, well, my mom has a really long table and then she has a little smaller table. So even then, it feels like a restaurant in there. You know what I mean? Everybody's getting up, everybody's eating, whatever. So that's how I feel like Deli Deli gives you that vibe. That even if there were more people there, it would be something like, oh, what did you get? Oh, that looks really good. You know what I mean? You can converse with the other people around you. And it's something that you could just go have a nice cup of coffee, you know, a little pastries or little things here and there.
They did have pastries in the counter, though.
Yeah.
We didn't have the opportunity to get up and like pay because the lady brought us, you know, the check and everything. But I did notice that on top of their counter they did have some pastries.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't notice though, because I mean they started as, you know, like a little coffee house / little sandwich place. Mm-hmm. I didn't notice if they had like if they still have that option of having coffees. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they still do. They still in their menu. They still have sort of like lattes and stuff like that. Mm. They still have like the really thin pancakes, the crepes, or the whatever, I can't really pronounce
crepes,
it. Yeah, they still have that option. I mean, they still have their. That's why I want to go back and try their breakfast because I want to see what their options are for breakfast as well, and I want to see if the quality of food is still there when it comes to breakfast. But for their, I also noticed that on their menu they had a chef's specials, which we didn't ask about them. Because I noticed it when I was already giving the menu back. Mm-hmm. I didn't really pay attention to the chef specials, but it's something that you can ask for.
Right. I remember I saw ask about the chef specials, But I was like, well, pues, I mean, we have the menu. Might as well just pick something from here. And then on top of that, pues, they're already closing.
And what I liked is that they're really on point on their social media as well. That they actually post on there the chef specials, what they're serving for the day. They put in the pictures that are their pictures. You know what I mean? It's not like they grabbed them from, you know, from stock images and like, here, you know, this is their dishes. This is the presentation of their dishes. That's what they're using on their social media, which is, you know, really nice to see, you know, a mom and pop store embracing that social media. Sometimes that happens that restaurants that are owned by mom and pop type restaurants, they tend not to want to be in social media, or they tend not to want to be part of that because they don't want to exclude, you know, the regular customers they have, the older generation, you know, the ones that come on a daily basis that don't deal with social media. You know what I mean? But at the same time, they're sort of incorporating the new age, you know, kids. So they have their older generation coming in. They have the, you know, the somewhat of our age clientele, and then they have the younger version coming in through social media and stuff like that. So it was I think it was a nice place to just have a quick bite, you know, chit chat and stuff like that, and then go on for the rest of your day. So I mean, the meal itself, I felt full for the rest of the afternoon. I didn't start getting hungry again until probably like 7 or 8. So it was a good while before I started feeling somewhat hungry again. But it filled me up pretty well. I mean, the portion itself was pretty good, pretty big. I think maybe they saw me and they're like, yeah, he probably give him an extra portion or something. But I don't think they did that, right? But overall, I think between your dish and my dish, it was a nice meal, a nice afternoon to have lunch.
Yes, for sure. Well, I think that should be it. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.